All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the STEM Files. This is the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. On tonight's episode, we're going to be asking the question, what is it like trying to get a patent for your invention? We're going to be tapping in with Dre Taylor. He's an aquaponics developer and innovator. Stay tapped in for more after this. All right, once again, welcome back to the STEM Files. We are the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. We highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in the Black community. I'm one of your hosts, Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. I'm a biomedical research scientist with a background in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and in the blood vessels. I'm typically joined by my right-hand best friend, Jabril Muhammad, aka Jabril Engineer. He's a mechanical engineer for the United States Navy, and he works on naval ship fluid systems, making sure those big fancy ships that you see out at sea function properly. Tonight, as Jabril always says, it's not about us, it's about our guests. So our listening audience, our viewing audience, welcome Mr. Dre Taylor to the platform. How you doing, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. So tonight's episode, and it's a very important episode. It's not something that, is talked about much in the Black community, and that's the process of getting a patent or just the overall intellectual property process. So I want to first and foremost just not only welcome you to the show again, but also let's break down your background, where you come from, how you got involved in aquaponics and where you are today.
Like I said, my name is Dre Taylor. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. Born and raised, went to school, college, played football, went to junior college, messed up my knee. Then I went to University of MU, did everything except what I was supposed to have been doing there, and done, a lot of different jobs, trying to find out, what I wanted to do, everything from selling insurance, working for the city of Kansas City, Missouri, and then just been on the entrepreneur route over the last 10 years. And so pretty much stumbled across aquaponics maybe about 2010, 10 years ago. My uncle was like, hey, man, they're growing vegetables and rocks using fish waste. And I was like, man, that's one of the coolest things ever. So I got on YouTube, got to watch some videos all over, seen Will Allen. If you're not familiar with him, he's like one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people in the world. He did Michelle Obama's garden at the White House, and he probably trained more farmers than anybody else in the country. When you're talking about thousands of farmers, Black and white, that went to his facility up in Milwaukee. And so he came to Kansas City, did a workshop. Me, my uncle, my grandfather, we all attended this workshop at high school, and we all went home. We built our individual aquaponics systems at our houses. And so that's pretty much how I got my start in aquaponics.
Got you. So when you were playing, you said you were playing football in college or high school?
High school and college.
High school and college. Now, when you were playing football, did you ever see yourself going into the sciences at all, or was it just something that this is football, this is my ticket, I'm gonna use this?
No, pretty much I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I really wanted to be a barber, so that was another thing I've done. I've worked in a barber shop, I think, about 4 years. So I never seen. Well, I seen it being football, but after I messed up my knee, it was like, okay, I'm just be an entrepreneur. So that's how things worked out.
Got you. Now, when you were first introduced to aquaponics, you say that was one of the coolest things you ever saw. What about it made you say, okay, this is cool, but now I want to take this and make this like my career and do this for the rest of my life? What was it about it that helped you make that decision?
When you look at the sustainability of it, using 90% less water than traditional farming, when you look at, water just being not what it used to due to global warming, all those things, and how you feed yourself. The plants are growing faster, being more healthy, feeding yourself. And so those some of the things that pretty much turned me on about aquaponics, where I was like, let me try this. I don't really see a lot of people, in the community doing anything like this. So let me go ahead and try to jumpstart this process and, ride this lane on out, create this lane and keep pushing it.
Dope, dope, dope. Do you and this is something that a lot of people ask, in terms of nutritional value when you're growing something in the aquaponics system. Does it take away the nutritional value of the food, or does it add to it?
No, it doesn't take away from the food. I mean, any food that you grow, man, it's always best to know where your food come from with all the chemicals and all the things that you learn about, how they're growing food, the pesticides, the chemicals, the herbicides, things like that. So it's always important where what you put in your soil, what you put in your fertilizer, you know, uh, the preservatives, you know what I mean? So, as soon as you take a plant out the ground or out the system, it start losing nutritional value after, 24 hours or so. So as soon as that plant, stop living and, start its process, then, nutritional value go down. Well, and it don't matter whatever you grow, it goes down nutritional value. So having that vegetable, whatever fruit that you grow and you eating it, as soon as it's picked or planted, as soon as it's harvested, then you're gonna get the best nutritional value as opposed to some getting picked from California, where a majority of our vegetables come from and a portion of fruit come from. So they'll try to harvest them before they're done, and then it gets put in a truck and then shipped over to a distribution center, to a grocery store, and then that's when we get to eat the fruit or the vegetable, whatever it may be. So by the time we get it, it lost a lot of nutritional value that you should have from the start.
Wow, wow. That that's an interesting process. I spent a lot of actually majored in agriculture at Virginia State, and one of the things we did a lot of research in was aquaponics, hydroponics, aeroponics, all the ponics you can think of, So we spent a lot of time making sure that the community understood that once it comes from the farm all the way to your homes, there's a lot of stuff that takes place in between that causes the nutritional value of the food to lower. So it's definitely valuable that communities understand what hydroponics is, how to grow your own food in your neighborhoods and even in your home. So I commend you on that. Now, in terms of just to kind of segue off into nutrition, when you were in high school and college, what was your diet like compared to now? Have you been able to use agriculture to improve your diet, or was it always pretty good?
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't really grow up eating a lot of vegetables. It just wasn't something that I grew up doing. Even in playing ball in college, we pretty much ate whatever because we worked out like crazy. So it was like just had to
Right.
feed your body 3 meals a day. When I was drinking milk, I don't drink milk no more. So I was drinking almost a half gallon a day and eating Burger King and all that kind of stuff because it really didn't at that time. It was like I'm working out 2 times a day, maybe 3 times a day from practice and working out. And so, I really didn't pay much attention to it. And I was probably almost the best shape of my life at that point in time. But yeah, as I got older, it was like, okay, I started eating more vegetables and things like that. And, that was my goal, was to, try to be more healthy and eat, live off the grid at some point in time. So that's my ultimate goal, just to be off the grid and eat majority of my food, and so that I grow. And so when I plan to make my move to Ghana, that's part of my thing where I'm just eat off the land.
Nice, nice. When you plan on moving?
I'll probably do 6 months on, 6 months off because I still got family here that I look after and things like that. But full time, I'm not for sure, but I'll probably make that move sometime next year.
Gotcha, gotcha. I see a lot of our people not only visiting Ghana but moving to Africa in general. Do you see a trend going on, or is it something that uh, do you see it having to do with the current climate that the country is in, the United States is in, or do you just feel it may be something personal going on? among our people?
I think it's a multitude of things where it's the climate that's going on, it's the education, it's social media. They're seeing different things in different places that they didn't imagine. Growing up, you was ready to fight somebody. Somebody calls you African booty scratcher. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And so it was like a derogatory term where now you took offense to being called African, and we don't want to associate ourselves with anything African because of what we've been taught, we've been ingrained. And then when you get over there, it's like when you touch that soil and hit that ground, it's like, refreshing. It's a feeling that you really can't describe where here you black, over there you human. You know what I mean? And so understanding that you're pretty much free, man, you don't have those same issues and that you have over there. And so I was talking to an elder gentleman about living in Ghana for like the last 20 years. He was like, I feel like a runaway slave. He was like, a bad day in Ghana beats a bad day in America any day. So, when you see the
Wow,
climate that you see here, you're not watching over your back from other black men. The end result of a confrontation isn't I got to kill this brother here. You know what I mean? Over there, it's just more peaceful. It just you see your people, and it's like you see the greatness. You don't sit there and say support black businesses because all the businesses there are black. And so it's a lot of things that you have to recondition your mind and be like, this is what it's supposed to be like. And I don't want to paint Ghana as like a problem-free area, utopia. They have their own set of issues, but the issues that you have over there is minute compared to what we have here.
Got you. Wow, that's pretty interesting perspective of why some of our people may be moving to Africa, especially Ghana, because that seems to be like just the go-to place in Africa to visit. Before we continue, for those who are watching, if you would like to join us on camera right here in the studio, go ahead and text 770-695-7912 to ask a question. If there's something that you want to know from our brother, and you want to be here with us in the studio, just go ahead and text that number and we'll bring you right on in. All right. So my next question, this show is about patents. It's about the intellectual property process. So before we get into patents and what that journey was like for you, what is your invention all about? Like, how does it change the face of farming, and how does it help improve the overall aquaponics process?
The patent is for self-harvesting for aquaponics system, meaning I breed my own insects to feed to my fish naturally, as opposed to using commercial fish feed, which is, harmful to the ocean because it takes two fish out the ocean to feed one fish commercially. So it don't make sense to fish the fish out the ocean to feed them for farm-raised fish. And so trying to be more, sustainable, environmental friendly by raising insects to take waste, food waste that will go into landfills, create greenhouse gases, and take that food waste to turn that into compost, usable compost. And then you get insects that you can actually feed to your fish. The insects are called black soldier fly larvae, 40% protein, 30% fat. The medical industry uses these insects for certain illnesses. And so I'm basically feeding my fish medicine from these black soldier fly larvae. It's just like fishing with worms, and so we're able to use these insects to feed our fish naturally. And so I can control when the insects, if I want them to fall into the fish tank, when I want them to, I can do that, or I can have them stay inside of where I'm growing them at and they don't move, or I can slow their feeding system down by slowing down their metabolism. So that's pretty much how my system works.
Gotcha. What is the benefit of that for the fish? Like what type of health benefits does it have for them?
Usually when you eat some kind of farm raised fish, they put antibiotics in either the water or the feed. And so these antibiotics, they putting in there to keep them alive or whatever they might do, it's not natural. And so everything we try to do is natural with the fish that we grow inside of with our aquaponics system. So that's something different from raising something on a commercial level, is by having, a naturally grown fish, which people can appreciate, where there's no chemicals going inside of the system whatsoever.
Got you, got you. Wow. So you created a whole system that's closed off from any type of uh poisons or pollution or anything like that. It's pretty much just like a closed circuit of nutrition for whatever you're growing. And that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, not only that, but you get output of compost. And so you take
Mhm.
some waste that you can food waste to go inside, and you turn that into compost from the insects, and then you get a feed from that process that you can feed your fish. And so, it's a pretty sustainable model, and, it's different than, other models that's out there.
Does the compost have any, is the compost different than the normal compost that you've prepared? Like, is it based just because it came from that system? Does it have any extra benefit than the standard compost?
Yeah, so the extra benefit is, so usually if I put some food out or something, say if you put some food out somewhere, you're gonna see a whole bunch of flies and insects flying around it. With this, the black soldier fly larva, they release what's called like a leachate, a liquid, and it's like a natural insect deterrent that doesn't cause insects to fly around where I'm composting food at. So it's not a lot of bugs around the system where the insects are consuming food. And so that's different where if I was to throw a whole bunch of stuff outside, you just see a whole bunch of insects ransacking the place. And so that leachate can be used as a natural insect repellent. And so we use that leachate that we get off of there to spray our plants with. And so, like I said, it has multiple uses in what we're utilizing. And, at some point in time, I'm gonna get that leachate tested, from a university or something, to see the actual benefits and what insects it deters and things of that nature. I just haven't got around to it yet. Got a lot of irons in the fire.
Got you, got you. And that goes back to a question I had um, in regards to, there's a lot of moving parts of your invention, and it's more so an innovation, to be honest. So what are some of the who have been some of the most crucial team members or players in developing this invention, like universities, other scientists, other engineers? Like what who have been your go-to people for this?
Really, I no go-to people. We're just something that I've seen. I went to, I tell people all the time, if you want to learn something, you try to learn from the best who's doing something. So when I wanted to learn about aquaponics, I went to Milwaukee to meet with Alan, and that's where I learned about aquaponics. When I want to learn about these black soldier fly larvae, I went to China, Guangzhou, China, where they was doing 10,000 pounds of insects a day. So I flew out there to figure out what they were doing. And so I'm in different communities online, and talk to some other leaders and with black soldier fly larvae. And just from those conversations, I'm picking their brains and asking questions. And this has been a process. I've been messing with them for the last 6 years or so. And so by me seeing certain traits of, what they're doing and learning, that's pretty much what I came with as far as the invention. So I just, pick brains of other people and see their thoughts, but it wasn't nobody in particular or a university that I leaned on most to get most of my information from.
Nice, nice. The myself and Jabril, we're members of the Nation of Islam. And one of the things that we're taught in the nation is to pull your resources and pull from those who know about certain information, whether it's directly or indirectly, and apply it to whatever it is that you're trying to bring about. So, you know, talk about having to become inspired. How has the field of the science of agriculture inspired you to produce this innovation?
Just the potential and looking at the future, what it holds and where we need to be going. Because right now it seems like we're going backwards. The increase of population, global warming, the food system is being broke down, And so just trying to figure out how to solve a problem. And so, that's pretty much, what I try to do is solve issues and come up with solutions. I don't complain about, what needs to be done. I try to find out what I need to do it. I have a mentoring program. I started mentoring boys back in 2007, 8 with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And when I would go to this Big Brothers, Big Sisters program, I would see half of the kids would be, black kids, and less than 5% would be black mentors. I'm like, where are we at? On Saturdays and Fridays, we out kicking in full effect. We on a dance floor, we parties, comedy shows, everywhere. We had all these social gatherings, we had church. But when it came to mentoring these kids, there was nowhere to be found. And so that's when I was like, you know what? I work with other mentoring programs, so my own mentor program. And it's not like I love to do it. It's just somebody needs to do it. So why not me? So that's why I mentor. And so when I see that the issue as far as food is concerned, somebody got to do it. Why not me? So I'm learning these things. I'm growing food, not because I love to do it. It just needs to be done. And so this is what I'm trying to do as far as find solutions for the community, to just empower themselves and see somebody who look like them doing something positive where, if I can do it, they definitely can do it. I write my own grants. I don't have to learn that the hard way. I barely get through a Facebook post without a grammatical error, and so I got to go back the next day. Like, I can't believe I missed that,
Right.
So,
I do all the time.
yeah. So if I can do something like that, then I tell people that you can do it. It's just what you put your energy into. For 10 years, I didn't have a TV. I just got one, I think, last year. And so for 10 years, I just grinded, man, and read books. YouTube, was online reading papers. Things you want to learn, the information is there. I would call and email professors from papers I would read, and they'd be excited to talk to you about it. You know what I mean? They work so hard to put this paper together, and ain't nobody really reading it. You know what I mean? And so you email them, and they open up about, whatever it is, because they're trying to teach, and they inspired by somebody, reaching out to them. And so, with aquaponics, I was doing a lot of that research and time. I put my energy into a lot of this efforts that I was putting forth. So that's how I try to tell people: put your energy, whatever you spend your energy on, then that's what you're gonna be the sum of. So,
Right. Well, you said something very important. You said that we show up for everything, but when it was time to show up for our youth, to educate our youth, no one was around. So talk about, and this is something I struggle with on the daily, because most of my content on Instagram and Facebook is educational. Like, you'll rarely see me post something that's, nonsense or anything of that nature. It's always value. So talk about how important it is for us as a people to be more educational based when it comes to sharing information, to put more effort into value versus entertainment, or useless entertainment, so to speak.
For me, I'd be like, to each his own. People share what they share. I don't always agree with people share, and it'd be a bunch of BS to me. But for me personally, I got a lot of the boys that I mentor, that I follow on Facebook. I got, even young girls that work at the garden, who brothers worked at the garden and live and work for me, X, Y, and Z, who watch what I'm doing. So I have to be mindful of what I post. And so I can't just be posting, any kind of crazy stuff, because it's enough of that on social media, whatever. And so I don't try to, fill my news feed up with useful information. You got to try to break up the monotony that's on social media by providing some value added information, because, somebody's watching you. You don't know who exactly watching, but people are watching what you're doing. And I'm always mindful of that, and so I try to be the example, and set that example that I want to see. So I try to, teach what I preach, and I try not to preach too much. I just try to do the work that needs to be done and lead by example. And so, the content that I try to provide is usually informational, where you can get some, take some from it. And, 95% of it is pretty much, useful information. It might be some stuff in there I might find funny or whatever, but for others, I feel that there's so much going on in the world. Some people like to laugh, post stupid stuff. They work all day. It's it's life. Life is short, man. And so enjoy it. Enjoy life. Try to make an impact. Be the change you want to see. Tomorrow's not promised. So like I said, to each his own. Enjoy your life. Live it how you want to live it, because it's you that have to live it. So just be mindful, and it's a lot of things we can do as a people if we just played our part. Everybody got a part to play, and the small things that you can do, man, we can move mountains. And so I'll just leave it at that.
Right. Okay, cool. Matter of fact, speaking of social media, this is the part of the show where we like to do something called a social media tap-in. So it's pretty much we highlight a picture from your Facebook or your Instagram where you're doing something related to the topic of the show. So pictured here, you're working with a group of Black youth. Tell us more about this picture. What were you guys doing?
This was some worms, some worms in my hand, some red crawlers, red wigglers. I think it was red wigglers, what night crawlers, red wigglers. And
Okay.
so I was showing them some worms and how they work the compost and break down compost and why they're needed and why they're important. And kids always like to be interactive. They like to see and touch and feel things. And so, all the dirty things that adults don't want to do, a kid to jump right in and, excited about that. So you can just see their faces, the impact of just that moment of excitement, of, curiosity. And where we're standing at is on 29th and Wabash in Kansas City. This is a location that once was used for prostitution. People have been shot on that lot. Drug needles we found on that property. And now, it turned into a place where kids can come in the middle of the hood where you forget where you at. Just in that small moment, you forget you in the hood. You forget you hearing gunshots and sirens and things like that. And that's something that you try to provide where, you can do a lot of things and you can change the narrative, and so that's what I try to do, is change the narrative and just remove for a second anything that's going on in your life to see something, be a part of something, and learn something while you at it. And so that's what that picture really, really symbolizes there, with those red worms and those youth there.
Man, so many things, so many powerful lessons from that. When you said that, it helps them forget, or it helps to take them away from the violence in their communities and the different types of hardships that they may be going through. And being able to go into your community and setting up a program or a system that helps to eliminate violence and death. You giving life to your people, man. And we appreciate everything you do. This is what the STEM Files is all about. This type of work, this type of effort, using science and technology and engineering and math to provide light into our community. So you doing the work. I commend you on everything you're doing. We'd love to work with you in the future. And but the show is about the patent process, so I want to talk about that. So how long did it take you, first and foremost, to get the patent? What is the process like? And what are some of the things you did to protect your product in the meantime while you were waiting on your patent to be approved?
The patent process started back in 2016. That's when I was like, you know what, I'm trying to get this patent. And so a traditional patent, for those who don't know, there's a certain kind of patent, design patent, a utility patent. And so I got a utility patent, which is like, innovation of a design, creation or something. So when you start that process, you want to do, it's a tedious process. It's like being a lawyer. If you want to do it yourself, it's like fighting your own case, putting up all that paperwork that you need to find out, if, the reading the books or the learning the terms of what are the lawyer jargon. And so it's a real extensive process that, obviously you try to invest in, paying a lawyer to do it. I didn't do it myself. I had a law firm that pretty much came in and did a lot of stuff where I didn't want to. I ain't gonna say I didn't want to do. I just didn't know the process and know all the stuff it entails, and I didn't realize how much of work that actually was. It's been patents that people have tried to get that took over 10 years to get, and so for 5 years that it took me to get my patent, that was almost short, it was like, you got the patent and that's not bad. It's almost average time to get it. But sometimes you get that patent, it's like, okay, I started this process 4 or 5 years ago. Now times done changed and something else different that came up where now is it even useful in my application. And so the law firm pretty much had an idea. I sat down with them. I showed them how things worked. The system worked. We drew it out on a paper, lined up all the intricate details of the patent and what it was designed to do, how the system exactly worked. And they started with that and they did a patent search. So you first of all, you want to make sure you're the inventor. You can't just take somebody else's idea and try to run off with it and say, I'm designing this. So you want to be the person because they can come back and sue you for whatever. So make sure you're the inventor first. Then you'll do a patent search to see if there's other patents out there that's like yours, or see if it's going to get approved, to make sure it's not a duplicate of somebody else's, because everybody got a lot of the same ideas. It's just a lot of people don't put things on paper. There's a lot of inventions that Black people don't know that we did because they were stolen and we wasn't, allowed to use our intellectual property. And I thought about the history of the patents and all the ingenuity that we done, and a lot of things that we don't even know that we did here. And the fabric of America was made up because of us and our inventions and our thought process, our minds, greatness. And so even when you hear some people, the ingenuity that we have, they'll make up terms like, oh, he nigger rigged that. That's ingenuity. How we use derogatory terms on how we come up with things where it doesn't make it appealing that I'm using my mind to be able to create this stuff, to solve a problem, and so it's so many different things that we taught to hate ourselves on a lot of different issues. But getting back to the patent, it was a process. I was just looking over before we started this, all the paperwork that was filed and we went through to get this patent started, dating back from 2016. It was like paperwork after paperwork. And I mean, if you're familiar with reading like, lawyer jargon and things of that nature, it can fly over your head if you're just not, used to those type of situations. And so they would send me information about the patent. I will look it over. Hopefully that, I didn't miss anything, because it's a lot of dotting I's and crossing T's that it takes to utilize a patent and getting that issued, and some fees associated with it. But I would just advise that, I would try to find a law firm to help you walk your way through it. Do as much work as you can, because those lawyer fees start adding up by the time they spend it on it. It's a long process. Even up to, I think, December, I believe, I was talking to the lawyers, and they came back with a rebuttal on some information they found from my patent, saying, okay, well, you have to justify this, and this. They brought it back. They wasn't going to allow my system to do X, Y, and Z. So I have to go back with a rebuttal to see if they will approve it. And because somebody have to examine your patent. And so everything was pretty much approved on the patent. And I was issued it, I think, in February, I believe, February 9th or something like that. And so, it was months where it just went by. I didn't think nothing of it, and you asked the question, what protects your patent in the process? So when you have a provisional patent, it's really, when you file it, it's like provisional, meaning it's still pending. Provisional is almost like it's pending. And so you can still use it. Somebody can come by and take it. But once you issue that patent, then you have, full license over it. So you can sue that person for using some of your information. So I used to have a lot of people come by my facility, nosy. You know, and they can tell the questions they asking, watching. They want to film things and take pictures and stuff like that. You know, so I would see it, and they would come in and just trying to copy a system, and it's like just ask me. You ain't got to try to steal and things like that. So that's part of the process. So
Gotcha. We got a few questions from the audience, and one of the things I want to ask the question a little bit more specific now. Now, you mentioned the provisional patent, which is what you get, you know, in the process of getting the official patent at the
right.
end. But talk about, you know, what, say for example, you have an inventor who can't do any of that, and they have an invention that they're currently using. What about what they're doing protects their invention even before they even try to file for anything? Is there something that they can do?
Don't tell anybody. That's all you can do is don't tell anybody. Because I mean, usually a circle, you know, ain't nobody gonna. Sometimes somebody might try to run off, but the process of implementing a patent is extensive. Like I said, it probably costs around, just in filing fees is around maybe $1,000 or something just for filing. But if you're gonna utilize a lawyer, low end maybe 10, high end maybe $15,000 to get a patent on the average. And so it's not cheap. It's like I said, it's an extensive process. But if you have something that you feel is worth gold, you know, you hold on close to your chest. You know, it's nothing that can protect you. You know, it's an old myth where they said the poor man's patent, where you write the information down and you send it to yourself in the mail. You know, and that's protecting you. But that doesn't work up in court. And so that's pretty much a myth as far as a poor man's patent. I thought about it myself, and you know, do my research. Like, that's not true. That you can't protect yourself. So if you have a patent or idea, you know, keep it to yourself as much as possible, and you know, just start the process with the lawyers, and you know, pay on it when you can, and find out some kind of arrangements you can make. Like I said, it took me 5 years or so to get this thing. So, you know, over that course of time, you know, whatever time it's going to take, you know, just try to pace yourself and save up for it if you think it's going to be worth what you think it's going to be worth.
Right. As matter of fact, our company, our research and development company, Original Man Scientific, the website right there in the top right corner, we are currently working with people right now to help get their invention started. You know, we have patent agents on our team, you know, that help our inventors put together patent applications, you know, do the prior art searches to make sure that what they have, they can actually, is it patentable or not? You know, you can actually do it. You know, so if you're interested in that, you know, if you want, if this is for the audience, and even you, if you come up with any more inventions, you know, definitely tap into sciencebyOMS.com. We help you with the invention process, the whole nine. We take you through the whole research and development process from start to finish. So one of our questions now is from the Black Math Academy. How long do patents last?
I want to say mine is about 18 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's how long mine lasts. I think it depends on the type of patent. But mine is 2018 years, I believe. I think it's somewhere in 2030 something that my patent no longer, you know, lasts. It might be longer. Don't get me the line. I just have to see the paperwork. I mean, I got so much paperwork about this patent, man. It's like it's crazy and ridiculous. And I really haven't had time, just even when I got my patent, to actually go through everything to, you know, make sure everything is everything. But it's a lot of paperwork that you get. And extensive, but I think it's 18 years of my patent, I believe.
Got you. Okay, so as mentioned before, you know, Jabril and I are members of the Nation of Islam, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that an idea doesn't belong to you, and that as soon as you think about it and you don't work out your idea or put it to paper or start developing it, it can go to someone else. So we have a question from the Black Math Academy. I believe you can't patent an idea. Is that true?
Nah, you can't patent an idea. It has to be more than an idea.
Right.
It has to be some kind of be useful. Like I can't think of something and patent my thoughts, and as a thought
Right.
is pretty much an idea, and so you can't do that. It has to be something useful, obtainable, something you can see, do. It has to be some kind of function added to a product or something innovative that you can use, but not as an idea. You can't patent an idea.
Got you. Got you. And what would you say? Oh, I think we have another question. All right. So this is from Nita the Coder. Does the patent protect you worldwide, or is it just in the country you applied for it?
What's going on, Nita? Good friend. No, we're just in the United States. It doesn't protect you in other countries. You have to get that patent filed in those other countries, wherever you at. So you have to be careful. I don't know that process of getting it patented in other countries, but I watch a lot of Shark Tank, and I've been seeing people say, "Hey, I got this patent in a certain amount of countries, X, Y, and Z." That because China, they'll steal everything. So as soon as you can make it, they'll duplicate it up. They just have that kind of manpower and ingenuity and technology where it don't take much for them to reproduce anything. So it is a process that you can get it patented in other countries, but I haven't took that step of getting something patented in other countries.
Got you. Got you. Okay. So one of the other questions I had in regards to patents, you talked about the history of patents. You talked about the history of Black people not being able to secure a patent because of the legal restrictions that they placed upon Black people at that time. Um, One of the many reasons why we don't talk about invention or talk about patent in the Black community as much as we should is because of how long it takes, how expensive it is, just the overall lengthy, strenuous process behind getting a patent. How would you encourage somebody that, regardless of what they see, how would you encourage the Black inventor to go ahead and do it anyway, regardless of the different types of challenges that they see?
You have to figure out you have a destination. You have to get there by all means necessary. And so if you have something that's worth something, you have to go after like anything. If you believe in it. Part of the problem, even when I'm mentoring the boys, it's like they're on islands where they have these ideas, they have these thoughts, but they don't know how to get from one place to another. And so me as a mentor and adult, I can be that bridge to get them from point A to point B. Using my resources, whatever I know. And so a lot of times people are stuck because they don't know how to get from this place to the next place. Having those resources, having that guidance, somebody say, "Hey, I believe in you." Usually in our community, man, we have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of dreams, and they shot down before you even get off the ground.
Right,
Somebody
right,
laugh at you. Somebody say, "Man, somebody else is doing that," or
right.
somebody else is going that. "I ain't gonna do this," and it's
Classic
shot
responses.
down. Yeah, that's
Right.
the responses, that and to get shot down, our self-esteem get so hurt by it where we don't even try after that. You know what I mean? And we asking people who've never done it before, which is ridiculous. But we care about these people. And so when these people say these things to us, it hurts us, and so we don't want to go any farther. But, these people don't, they only know what they know. And so it's a lot they don't know. And it's a lot we shouldn't be asking them because they have no idea of no kind of skill set or history in that field. A lot of times the deterrents are where we're trying to get to. So sometimes you have to remove yourself from certain circles and put yourself in different circles of people doing like-minded things, finding groups of people that you just mentioned before that you can go to and help out with that patent process. But a lot of times, like I said, our surrounding peers, our friends, they just aren't as helpful as they should be because there's so many compounded issues that we deal with in our community where, everywhere we turn, it's a battle on every front, from everything we dealing with. And so, that's one more thing where, they're not paying attention to what you got. They can't see it into fruition because they mind doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? Because of all the compound issues that I mentioned before.
Man, you speaking to the heart right now because when I was in high school, I got involved in medical research pretty early, and I had all these ideas to develop these different types of biologicals and substances that can help with human disease, right? And I was telling everybody I could find, about my idea. I was just so proud to have something like this in my head and on paper at such a young age. And that was my mistake. Like telling everybody, people I work with, some people in my family, like that. It was a waste of time, but it wasn't, because I needed to understand that everybody it's not necessary to tell everybody your dreams and your goals and your aspirations or whatever ideas that you have brewing in your mind. And it wasn't until I got a mentor in medical research where I was like, okay, good. I had the right person. I had the right group of people. Let me just keep this information to myself unless I'm talking to them, you know. So it's very important that if you have an idea, make sure that you are seeking help from somebody who has done something similar or who can point you in the right direction. Don't waste your time doing that. But it sometimes is necessary for you to see how important it is not to do it. So I appreciate that. We're coming towards the end of the show. We're 45 minutes in. This has been an incredible show. I appreciate your time, man. All the gems you've been dropping, the jewels you've been giving to the audience. For those who are watching and want to stay up to breast on our content, just visit us at the 4 platforms at the bottom: the STEM Files on Facebook, the STEM Files on YouTube, and at the STEM Files on Instagram and Twitter. Jabrilian Engineer, Tariq Cardiac. We are live every Thursday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as we close the show, is there anything that you want to let the audience know about agriculture, about innovation, and about just being great in science and technology?
First off, grow your own food. A lot of times, I gotta miss. There's a number of food desert. We live in these food deserts. If you know anything about a desert don't have water, access to water. In our communities, we have access to water because we're growing grass. So the grass is growing. So if you can grow grass, you can grow food. And so sometimes they take these trendy ideas, and it's people who don't look like us, come up with these terms, food desert, they run with it, they monopolize it, and they throw these words around, and we tend to fall for it, and they benefit the most from these terminologies that they throw out there. And so if you can grow grass, you can grow food, grow your own food. That's one of the most empowering things, you can pretty much do. That's what my man, Ron Finley says, growing food is like planting your own money, and so, that's one of the things I try to tell people, and find people who's doing great things and learn from them. Find the best who's doing it, reach out to them. If they're not the best, go to the second best or the third best, and try to figure out, get a mentor, be an intern, learning on the job experience is the best teacher. You can read as many books as you want to, but you're not going to learn as much you're going to do on the job of trying to figure it out. And so educate yourself, find the best doing it, and set your own lane. It's for the taking. Go out and get it. Look at your circle, and so you want to do a lot of those different things, and being successful. And successful is relative to, to the person. But everything is in grab and reach. You just have to want it enough. How bad do you want it? What are you willing to sacrifice? I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed a lot of stuff, man. I started with 100-gallon fish tank, man. I moved from 100-gallon fish tank in the basement where I was mentoring at the old high school, at the old elementary school I attended, 100-gallon tank to 50,000 gallons of water. You know what I mean? The 30,000 fish from like 100 fish, all within, like a 2-year period. And everybody try to talk you down, man, why you need to go big, go small, start off this and that. If you're going to do it, do it. You know what I mean? And you learn so much on the way doing it, but you doing it. You know what I mean? So you have to start something. You have to start somewhere. That's the biggest issue. You have to start. And if you start, try to see it through, if you can. But that's what I just try to, tell my boys and, the youth that I mentor, be your own man, find a skill, be a master of something, not a master of nothing. You know what I mean? Don't be a jack of all these trades, but be a master. And so, like I said, when I went to Milwaukee, I went to China, I went to Ghana, the DR, and all these different places to learn agricultural. I read these books. I wanted to be a master so I can talk it back and forth and back. And you ask me this stuff, I can sit there and tell you. And it's something nobody can take away from me, is about learning this stuff. So master a craft. Once you master a craft, then you're able to feed yourself and feed your family whenever you want to feed them. So you don't have to depend on nobody else to do these things.
You said whenever you want to feed them, man. That's game right there, man. We didn't even have to go to Clubhouse to get it, you know. So I appreciate that. This has been an incredible show. Once again, you know, I think we have another question. 1 second. Oh no, it's just a statement from the Black Math Academy. Master the craft. Master something. Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to be proficient in one thing. Just one thing. That's all it takes. You know, you don't have to be involved in so many different things to be successful. Now you can have multiple streams of income. That's fine, but master one thing. You know, be proficient. Be notable to yourself for one thing. You know, so that I'm a firm believer in that. And thank you again, man, for joining the show. We definitely look forward to having you back for another episode. How can people contact you to know more about your invention, your company, different things like that?
I think you shared some contact information before, yeah. So you can contact me those different modes. I'm trying to get through, you know, all these Facebook messages, man. That patent post went crazy.
Yeah,
It was
I can
like
tell.
it's probably about 10,000 comments to different streams, you know, and like 40,000 likes. I'm like, man, I can't. I usually try to like every comment, man, but it just got too time consuming. I still be trying to, you know, it's too much work, but I try to answer everybody any questions they have. I'm thinking about doing a class on a patent process, you know, how that works and what you need to do, because a lot of people just inbox me like, hey, I got an idea. I don't know where to start. You know, I want to do this. I don't know where to start, you know, and it's a daunting task, you know, but, you know, I'm thinking about just doing a class on, you know, the process and, you know, using the information that I've gained and learned and going back through the notes that I have from the lawyers and things like that and create something that could be usable for them to gain knowledge on. So hopefully I can, you know, create a class or something like that in the next, you know, couple of weeks or so.
Yeah, and let us know. You know, we have a platform for you to put it on. You know, if you want to do it with us, that's great, because we have patent agents, you're on deck, ready and standby, just to kind of back you up, you know, with everything you say, and even join you in some of the content that you share. So I definitely look forward to that. Let us know how we can help. You see the website right there in the top right corner, sciencebyOMS.com, Black-owned research and development company. Our next guest is an athlete who is passionate about bringing science and technology to Black youth who are also athletes. She has an organization called STEM Kings and Queens, and she has done an amazing job with merging sports and science. So definitely check that out this coming Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Same place, same time, same platforms. All right, family. Well, thank you again, Mr. Taylor. I appreciate you. I look forward to working with you and everything that you're doing. Keep up the great work. We love to see it. And if there's anything that you need from us here at the STEM Files team, the OMS team, definitely don't hesitate to reach out.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Enjoyed myself.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, thank you, family, for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you this Saturday. Peace.